have the power.
Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd, and yes, I got it, the giant Mondo collectible 200X Clawful 1/12 scale figure timed edition. Bum, 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 bum. So let's go and go through this and talk about this cool figure and the Clawfuls of the past. So let's turn the camera around and let's get going. Clawful, the awful. Bum, 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 bum. Now before we jump into this Clawful, let's go ahead and go through a little history lesson of the Clawfuls of the past. Bum, 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 bum. Because that's what makes these videos fun, right? So, let's start at the beginning. In the beginning, there was Clawful. Now, it was kind of cool, is when they first made Clawful, they had two versions they released. They had a version that had Skeletor legs, which is the one that I think I might have had as a kid. And they made one that had Buzz-Off legs. So it was kind of cool. They had two different ones. And we've seen this a lot with Masters of the Universe, where they'd make multiple versions of the same character. The first one I remember was actually Stratos. They gave us one with a blue backpack and red wings, and they also made one with red wings, or with blue wings and a red backpack. So it was kind of cool. They gave us two different versions. But they also gave us two versions of Clawful. They gave us two versions of Too Bad and some other figures as well. But this is definitely a version change, having the legs totally different. You can see because it's Buzz-Off's legs, it got all the bumps and the three toes. This also has three toes, but not the bumps, but the feet are shaped differently. Now, these are actually my commemorative ones. I don't have the original ones from the 80s, but they were made on the same styling that these had. And you can see the heads were pretty simple. They had the Groucho Marx eyebrows and big old two fangs sticking out. And pretty much it was just like how the 80s one looked as well. He also had a weapon that would go into his hand, just like how Buzz-Off would hold things. In fact, I think it might have been, no, it wasn't. Buzz-Off's was an axe. But it had the same kind of connection point that Buzz-Off's would have. So you can put it onto his claw like that. Now, we had three figures with oversized hands on one side. We had Fisto, we had Jitsu, and then we had Clawful. Now, it's funny because both Fisto and Jitsu had the spring action, and I remember being so disappointed this did not have the same spring action to it. So you couldn't do any uppercut punches or anything else. You would think, since they were going with the same theme of one giant meaty claw on one side, that he would also have that same spring action going on. Now, when I was younger, I took a Clawful and I took two of them and I carefully cut off the arm right here at the elbow and then cut off the other side and then used a lot of heat and screwdrivers and everything else and a pin and made a giant two-clawed version of Clawful, and he was pretty cool. Well, I've always liked that two-claw version. I just not a huge fan of this asymmetrical look where one side's big and one side's small. But if you take a look at real crabs, a lot of times you will see that they'll have one side big and one side small. It's actually the way they are in nature. So anyway, that was just kind of my thing that used to bother me. So you'll see that theme going forward in a lot of my figures when it comes to Clawful. So next we had the 2000X. And it was actually a statue called the Staction figure. I don't actually have him anymore. I did have him. And the one I had, I actually articulated the arms and I think the head, the waist, the arms and the waist on it. So I could move them around. And I bought both Clawful and Stinkor at the same time and made them both move in those same spots. But I ended up selling my Clawful. I don't know why, I don't remember why, but probably ended up on the chopping block for some reason. Probably not in my top ones, which stinks. This is the only Clawful I don't really have when it comes to all these major toy lines of Masters of the Universe. All right, so this is probably the actual size of it because I actually held up I still have Stinkor, and I held him up to here and I scaled this picture to make it so it would be the right size. So you can see the Staction figure was rather large. You can see how he looks next to a Classics figure, and he's about a little bit shorter than a Classics figure because his head is lower than his hunchback. But still, really good size for a 2000X figure back in the day because they were much smaller figures. So he was definitely an oversized statue. Next we had Classics. And you guys know I love my classics. So here's how we got our classics one. I don't remember if he came with the shield or not, if that was a separate accessory that came in a weapons pack. I just don't remember. But anyway, I gave him the shield anyway. Now, in this version, they gave us a claw that actually rotates, which makes it really easy now for holding the weapon, because now you can hold the weapon and actually rotate it so you can bash people in the head better. And they also gave us some other cool features too. Like they gave us this red going all the way down his shoulders. So it doesn't look like it's just wearing like he's wearing a mask. This always reminds me of one of those wrestlers with the masks on, because all of a sudden it changes from red to tan instantly from his head to his body. And so they were smart about it and gave us this cool gradient going down and just a beautiful sculpting job. Now they did give us the buzz-off legs, which I think is more vindicative of what Clawful should look like. And they also gave us a shell on the back, just like we had at the 2000X. So a little bit of mixtures in here when it came to the 2000X and the actual original figure. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, I like the 2 giant claws. So here is my custom 2 giant claws custom, and much easier to do. Now I did put a small little red stick in there. It was actually from a toothpick that I painted red to keep his claw open a little bit so it wouldn't look quite the same. But this one still moves pretty easily. And so there is my cool custom one. Now I did paint his eyebrows to be red instead of Groucho Marx. I did that to look more 2000X-ish. So it would just look better. In fact, he has the 2000X head from the special head pack they gave us. But I did that before they gave us the head pack. So there is my custom one. And then I made another custom one. Dun, 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 dun. And this one, I decided to make it look like the original toy. So it looks like he's wearing a mask again. I swapped out his body to get rid of that cool redness. And I gave him Skeletor's boots. And so he's a reminiscent version of this one here. And I also didn't give him the 2000X head, so he still has the Groucho Marx eyebrows. And you can see it's kind of a cool throwback to the original 80s, giving him that regular instead of the red across the back. So that was kind of fun doing that custom. All right, now we move on. We move on to Origins. Now, Origins made a really cool... Oh, I forgot to give this guy his battle weapon. There we go. Oh, now his claws upside down. Let's try that again. All right. So here is the one Origins gave us, and they went back to the Groucho Marx eyebrows, and they went back to the looks like he's wearing a mask. As you can see, it just goes right to tan. And they did that because they basically patterned these off of the original toys from the 80s, which is why we get that kind of look that looks very similar to the 80s styling. Now, they did give us the buzz-off legs, which is kind of cool because I think that's more Clawful-like than the other legs. So I decided to make a custom. Of course, I have to, right? You guys know me. I can't help but make customs. I've been doing it since I've been a little kid, swapping out how my figures look, and I'm still doing it today. And so my custom version, I gave him Skeletor's boots and legs. So I did the whole swap on him. I actually used, what is his name? I just said it earlier. Now I'm having a brain fart. See, that's what happens when you start doing too much of this. Oh, I used Jitsu's legs on here because it's about the same color to give him regular smooth legs. I think I might have used Jitsu's whole body on this actually. And then I decided to make his other arm the one that has the giant claw. You're probably going, but why, Hebro? Here's why. Because these parts are interchangeable, and with one quick little swap of the arms, I can now make my 2-clawed giant, or my lame little claws guy, the leftover parts guy. Hey, I'm the leftovers parts guy. And so that's kind of fun. Now I did, just for fun, since I already had Jitsu out and was pulling apart pieces from him. Let me open the Ziploc baggie I just ripped wrong. There we go. I did make an extra set of legs that has Jitsu's loincloth, because I kind of like the black and the red, but I gave him the buzz-off legs, so one quick little swap, I can give him a cool black belt to go along with his new styling. So, kind of fun. Anyway, let me switch them back. Arr! You call one Lefty and the other one is Clawful. Lefty, Clawful. All right. Oh. Which brings us to the next one. And this is Masterverse. Masterverse. Now, I really like the Masterverse one because you guys know I like to have my monsters of the universe. And in him, yes, I gave him the 2 giant claws because I love that look. And I also gave him the classics head. Here is the head he came with originally. Shoop. It's not that much different. I just don't like it. And if I am going to use him until I use the same character, just a different size or whatever for some reason, then I could still have the same character. He looks too much like a dinosaur Dr. Zeus kind of look the way this looks. And I just like the aesthetics, the 2000X head way better. Now in this version, the armor's not removable on here, and they gave him the red going down and right into his armor, and then it goes into this tan. But he has these cool little armbands. Now originally it came with only one armband, but being that I was doing all this crazy swapping, yes, crazy swapping, I did keep the regular arms, so I could swap him back or make him a right or a left or 2 smalls. So it's kind of fun that I actually kept these parts. I did sell the rest of the pieces, though, on one of my chopping block auctions of Clawful. Now, when I first got this Clawful, my thought was, am I really going to buy 2 just so I can make the 2 giant meaty claws? And I had this guy here, the Whiplash, and Whiplash came with some really big, giant, ugly blue feet. Here are the legs that they gave us for Whiplash at first. And I was like, what the heck is going on with these big old giant fatty legs? Look like bird legs or something, and I just did not like how these looked. And so the other Clawful's legs ended up going on Whiplash, which looks so much better for Whiplash than the big giant furry boots. Oops. Come on, Whiplash, watch with your tail there. And so that is where my extra Clawful feet went, was to fix Whiplash's. Look at that. Those are just so crazy looking. So much better. And of course I did give him the 2000X head as well. Because his original head also looked awful. We're not here for Whiplash though, so step aside, sir. We're here for Clawful, Clawful. So this is what I thought Clawful's going to look like from Super 7. Super 7? From Mondo. And I'm thinking this is actual size. So I told you guys a long time ago that when I got Clawful, I would see if this is true and I got the size right or not. So let's go ahead and open up that Mondo Clawful. Let me clean my table and then I will get the figure open. All right, let's get this open. Let's get it open now. And slice through that tape. Ugh. Masters of the Universe. I can see it right on the top where it says that. Oh, it's got the little corner pieces too. That is heavy. Don't let kids play with the plastic because it is dangerous. Danger, danger. So let's see what it says here on the back of the box. Whoa, too close. Okay. Clawful, the warrior with the grip of evil, grip of evil! Imprisoned in the dark hemisphere, the mighty Clawful uses his brute force to help Keldor and his henchmen shatter the mystic wall. Serving Lord Skeletor and his conquest to overthrow Eternia, this Not sure what that stands for. Karikana? Sure. Karikana. Warrior thrives in close combat with a huge mace and enormous crushing claw. Oh, Emiliano did this one too. Emiliano, he's so cool. Anyway, let's go ahead and open the box. What are we going to be making all of them? If you guys ever get a chance to see his art, he is amazing, amazing, amazing. Oh, you know what? There's his art right there. Oh yeah, that looks way better than the He-Man box did. That looks cool. And it's definitely got the 2000X vibe to it with these jagged stuff. Oh yeah. All right, let's pull them out of here. Boom, 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 boom. For a second, I thought he was super huge. I mean, he is, don't get me wrong, but I thought this one all the way to the ground from the height. And I was like, oh, which then make him almost a 12-inch figure. Which should be crazy. I'm dropping stuff. Oh, I got the other Clawful's part stuck in there. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Cut off the tape. Well, the tape's on the side here. And there's probably one more piece of tape over here. There is. Whew. It's easier to cut it off at first. Okay, before we get into the big mighty beast, let's see what we got here in the bottom of this container. Dude, you are just in the way. Stand. What do we have here? Like a little pet of his. It's his little pet. His little sea urchin. Yep, don't kill this or he'll go John Wick on you. Look at that. It's like something from Alice in Wonderland, kind of creepy, scary. Its little edges are sharp too. Sharp, 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 sharp. That's cool. Alright, let's see what else we got in the box. We got the black stand. And it's the same size as He-Man's black stand. They are the same. This is He-Man's, this is Clawful's. Oh, look at that. One of his brothers coming out of the water. Boom, 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 boom. That guy is scary. You know what? Oh, they should have made this head removable. So you could put it on Clawful instead and swap the heads. Oh, what a miss. What a miss. Such a cool sculpt for that. And it's funny, this is just his plate he stands on. But oh, there's where the hook goes into right there on the back. It's weird though, you can feel it's kind of hollow rubber. It's very strange. Man, that removable head would have been perfect. Perfect. Now, here's a comparison to He-Man's extra little stand he came with. Quite a bit difference in the size. I mean, He-Man's little stand looks pretty lame now next to Clawful's stand. Alright. we have the Hook of Power. Oh. And I'm sure it's the exact same as He-Man's. Let's take a look. Yep, it's the same. Here's He-Man's, here's Clawful's. It is the exact same hook. Oh, he's got another little sea urchin. It's funny, these all have shells on them. As opposed to if they did Merman, they probably would not have all the shelly type stuff. Look at that guy. Oh, it's just annoying me. It should have been just removable. 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 As you guys keep going, if you do something cool like this, please, 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 Mondo, make it so we can swap it out as a secondary head if we wanted to make a secondary character. Look at that. Alright, I'll put it with the other sea urchin over there. They could be buddies. Or they could be Pokemon and fight. Pokemon. Let's take a look at his mighty claw, or his mighty mace. The mighty mace. So here's the original 2000X mighty mace from the statue. And it's funny, the statue one is just a little bit bigger. That was made by NECA a long time ago, the Staction figure. And so you can see they use the same styling as the NECA statue. Here's the statue one. Now the handle ended up breaking, or so I forgot what happened to the handle. It just didn't work for Clawful for some reason, so I ended up having to replace it with this. I don't remember exactly what happened, if it broke or what. But you can see, though, it's definitely influenced by the Staction. Very cool. Alright. We got an extra head here. Extra head. Oh, it goes on the back. So he's going to have a really big hunchback like the original 2000 sculpture. And another extra head. Now it's weird on this website. I think they call them the portraits. Which to me it sounds kind of weird calling them portraits, but whatever. It's just another head. Oh, this head's totally different. I thought it would be a different expression of the same head, but it's a completely different head. See, this one's got like horns on it and stuff, and this one does not. Interesting. Out of the two so far, I like this one better. Alright. It is time. It is time to unleash the beast. The beast of burden. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh. Does his mouth move? Nope. Ugh. How weird. You have to pull his head off to get that off. Oh, he is beefy, beefy. I know some people are going to complain about this, but I actually really like there's no fur on this. I am not a fan of using fur on the figures. There we go. Oh, ba-ba. Oh, he's got the black foam too. Whew. Look at that beast. He is huge. Well, let's go ahead and do some quick comparisons. First of all, you can stand him a little bit taller if you want to by straightening his legs, but it's kind of strange. So here he is at his full massive height. And let's take the tallest Clawful I have, my Masterverse, and let's put him next to him. Burp. So he is a little bit, Masterverse is a little bit shorter than this one, But as far as girth goes, he has him beat by a long shot on girth. And let's see how close I was at nailing the scale. I was pretty close. Look at that. Here to crunch his legs back up like they were. That's about right. So I don't think I was too far off on guessing the scale of this guy. Ba-doo. Cool, cool. Hooray. I'm gonna lay him down for a minute. He does not want to stand very easy. I gotta figure out his center of gravity to make him stand. First of all, if you lean his... There we go. Ugh. Now, he is not all rubbery like He-Man was. This is rubbery here, but his torso is solid. Solid. Solid like a rock. He's got some great articulation. Let's go and break down the articulation. So, let's start at the bottom here. We have ankle articulation. We have only a single jointed knee. That's surprising. A little squeaky. We have a hip movement up here. And of course we got the same on the other side. And then we have his waist that turns. And we have ab crunch, which is nicely placed. We have some great shoulder movement. And then we have a bicep cut. We have a double jointed elbow. Which is funny, we have a single jointed knee, a double jointed elbow, and just like we saw with Mr. Hyde, they do a great job with hiding the articulation so you can really scrunch that way up there. Look at that. Watch. That is incredible. It's weird because that double articulation, you don't use much of this at all. It just barely moves a little bit just to give it that little bit more crunch there. Very clever. So it doesn't actually take away too much from the articulation like you would think it would. Or the sculpt, I mean. And this side, of course, moves the same. And his head has one articulation point. And I wish the jaw would have moved because it's so big. But it's okay. We got a closed mouth version here. And I'm guessing this is the same head. So I'll probably be using these two heads more often than that third head. There we go. There we go. That's how I'm going to have them. That is cool. All right, let's stick him on a stand. Now, as cool as the stand is, I kind of wish that guy wasn't popping out of the water because it just drives me crazy when they have things like that. That's non-removable, and you'll always have some weird guy crawling out underneath his legs. So you could put it this way, but then you got the hole right here for the claw that goes up there. But that way you don't have to see that guy coming out of there every single time when you really don't care to, if you don't care to. All right, let's stick his weapon in his hand. Now, in reality, I can't see him using his big meaty claw for the weapon. It would make more sense to put it over here. In fact, his original picture even shows it over there. So let's go ahead and see how this fits in there. Let's try that again. Jink. Wow, that's really loose. So it's going to be hard to keep that closed. One good thing is his hands are going to keep falling off. That drives me so crazy with this He-Man here. Let's compare him next to He-Man. And you can see his size difference. Now, I did redress my He-Man in different clothes, but he is the right height and everything else, so you can kind of see. So this is the height difference between the Mondo He-Man and the Mondo Clawful. All right, let's see if you can pick up Mondo He-Man and his giant meaty claw. Oh, look at that. Oh. Don't fall. Look at that. Oh. All right. Let's compare him next to Classics. Let's see how he looks. Yeah, I am loving this figure. There is no customization required at this one. He is perfect just as he is. So here he is next to Classics. Not too bad on the height. Well, of course, Classics and 2000X Mondo are just about the same height. So it's not that much of a difference anyway. They are pretty close. The Mondo's a little bit taller. Not much. Alright, let's compare him with Masterverse. Let me go grab my Masterverse. Here is Masterverse He-Man. Oh. So you can see the height difference. Oh! And then here is a standard Masterverse figure. And you can see the height difference. So, there you go. Cool, cool, cool. There we go. So now you can see how big he is. Alright, let's compare him now to the 2000X Staction figure. Now it's a little harder to compare the height because obviously he's not standing flat and the camera angle I took a long time ago isn't exactly right. But you can see he definitely has all of the details going on from the way the figure looks from the Staction to the other one. It's got the blue pieces here, the blue pieces there. It's got the big old crazy claw that's different than we've seen in the past. He has the big old face and the things coming down and all the red. And so he is definitely based on the Staction. Now he is much more detailed than the Staction, which is hard to believe. And he just looks mighty awesome. Now, as you guys know, he is going to be used with my Classics figures. So let's compare him next to Classics Clawful. Oh, such a huge difference. I mean, this looks like a claw man, and this looks like a monster. I cannot believe the difference between them. I cannot wait till Mondo makes 2000X Beastman. Oh, that's going to be so cool. I'm waiting for 2000X Beastman, and I'm also waiting for 2000X Sorceress. I'm probably going to pass on the 2000X Tila, though. But I definitely want some bigger monsters. Which stinks is I just bought all my monsters from Masterverse, thinking that they would be the ultimate monsters possible. And then Mondo goes and does something like this. Some awesome figure. Look at that. That's just so crazy. It's so different. Such a huge different build than the He-Man. That's what's so weird about it. I thought they were going to use the same styling, and I was afraid because the He-Man is kind of weird because he's made of tubes with a big rubber overlay. So you can see he's got this overlay of rubber, which makes it really cool as you can push him, you know, his arms together and stuff and do all kinds. Oh, there goes his hand again. So you can do some really cool movements with them because of that rubber overlay. But I'm really glad they decided not to go the same route with Clawful. Nice. All right. Well, I have been talking a lot about this guy. And so now I need to know from you guys what you think of this. Now, bear in mind, he was pretty spendy. So I need you to consider a couple things. One, obviously he's cool. There's no doubt about it. So you don't need to tell me that again. But is he worth it? is he worth the amount of money that it costs to get him? Now, I did get the timed edition, so I did get the extra stuff with it. I don't know if they're going to have a non-timed edition or not. But what's cool about the timed stuff, why I love to buy timed things, is basically it's made to order. So you can order as many as you want. It's not going to affect anybody else. Now, after the timed ones are over, of course, then there's only a set limited number. It's so annoying, though. I bought this guy, customized him, bought 2 to do it. And he's so lame next to... And I thought he was so awesome. That's the part that freaks me out. Is I thought he was completely awesome, this Masterverse one. And I had no idea that something like this could exist. Oh, it's just so cool. Except for the loose part right here. I'll fix that later. I'll figure out how to tighten that. This side's nice and tight, though. Oh, and here comes a little sea critters. Sea critters. Do-do-do. So cool. Mondo, you guys have knocked it out of the park. Emiliano, excellent job, man, except for the squeaky leg. But I could probably put some oil on that. They both squeak. I will sneak up on He-Man. Oh, he's gonna hear me coming. Bom, 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 bom. Oh, he's got some ball joints for his legs. That's some intricate articulation. That is for sure. Because it turns that way, and once you get it loosened up, it will turn this way too. I am loving it. If you guys do Beastman right, I am going to be a pretty happy guy. Oh! Okay, I've spent way too long talking about how cool this figure is, but man, I am blown away. Blown away. Blown away. Bah, 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 bah. He is just so cool. Let's get his giant weapon out too. Look at that. Look at it. Oop, oop. I'll have to find that later. And the articulation is just so good on this guy. Every piece of it. I love the way the arm bends on the elbow. That is just really cool. It's funny, I thought the He-Man figure was built well. He's even built better than that. Except for the squeak. So cool. Amazingly cool. Hopefully, those who like this will end up have a chance to get one. Because it is really cool. I just cannot believe how cool he looks. I love the way the arms are. I mean, they did not destroy the bicep for the articulation points. It's cool. Anyway, I know I'm going on and on and on, but when you see something that cool, it's just like unbelievable. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video. And like they say in the like they say in the 2026 movie, good journey, kid. Anyway, bye now.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Do it!